Hey folks, welcome back. And today I want to talk about a new detector that I got myself. It's really amazing. I think a lot of people will like to see what this thing can do. Um, this here is the Atomfast 8850 scintillator detector dosimeter thing. And it's great, it's really cool. It comes with an app. Show you this here very quick. So this connects via Bluetooth with your smartphone and you get a really amazing radiation detector. Let's take a closer look into what it can do. Well, what you get when you order one of these is this neat little box. I really like the logo. There is this little wallet thingy where you can stick the detector inside. It's very practical, protects it a little bit, and you can put it on your backpack or your belt. Very nice. And of course, a charging cable for the battery. The battery is really amazing. They state that it lasts for longer than 2 months when the thing is on, actually, just without the beep, obviously, that uses like electricity. Very nice long battery life. I paid something like 300 euros for it, I think, which is very affordable in my opinion. For the technology that you get, for what this thing can do, it's a very, very fair price. Smaller company from Russia, I believe they're called kbradar.org, or that's where you find them. I'll put all the links in the description anyway. Yeah, I really like this. Very sympathetic company, good customer support. So, what can this thing do that other Geiger counters cannot do? Let's take a look at it. First of all, this is a scintillator detector. It's not, it doesn't use a classical Geiger-Müller tube like this one. It actually uses a scintillation crystal. In this case, it's cesium iodide crystal with a photomultiplier. This has a modern one. There's like the old school photomultiplier tubes. But nowadays you get solid state photoelectronic multipliers. So that's a bit more modern, it's smaller, uses less electricity. And the thing with scintillators are they're much faster and much more precise, and also they have much higher count rates. So it's just a more sensitive device compared to a classical Geiger counter. Let's talk about the controls quick before we look into the app, because actually the app is the thing that makes this really amazing. But you can use this standalone without the app, also as a detector. And there's some commands how to use it, because there's no buttons whatsoever. The only thing you have is the power plug for charging the battery. So it has some commands. When you turn it, this turns off the beep, but it's still running in the background. Turn on the beep, and there's a second beep. Higher pitch, if you prefer that. And I think this command also works. This is to turn on and off the Bluetooth of the device. Oh, now it's on anyway, so backwards is off. Once more, I guess. But the only reason you want to do that is to save the battery here, because normally you want it connected with the Bluetooth with your phone, because it can do much more stuff. I think we're back to connected again. That's your manual controls, so let's take a look at the app now. Now it's connected again. Let's take a quick look on what the app can do. So you can find the app in like the usual app stores. On Android it's called AtomSwift. On the other one, how are they called again? Apple or something? I don't know about those, but they have an app for that too. You just download it, you connect your device via Bluetooth, then you get this start screen. I have like my stuff set to millisievert at the moment. Down here you can see that. Just a quick overview. Well, this is just count rate, what it's counting right now. You get the counts per minute, of course, down here. Accumulated dose, which is very nice. It's actually a dosimeter, so you can measure your radiation exposure if you're, for example, if you work in a nuclear power plant or in the medical field of like radio medicine. It's very cool for professionals, but also for amateurs like me alike. This number here is like the percentage of accuracy, well, or inaccuracy, I must say. There's a second measuring mode also. When you just swipe over here, you can start measuring. This is more precise. So the first screen is faster. It's like if you're in the field scouting for something radioactive, or like, I don't know, uranium prospecting, something like that. But this here is like if you want to measure something with more precision. Also here you see this here drops down, which is good. It should go like really low, below 5%. Just needs a little bit of time if you do the precise measurement. But in the fast mode here, it's just really fast. That's something that I like a lot. Of course, you have a history. You can make yourself graphs. And you can also like export those. I believe it's in CSV or CVS files. It's like just you can use Excel to make graphs with these kind of files. You can export those. One little thing that I noticed, which is a little bit a pity, that's the only thing I don't like about the device, it only logs when it's connected with your phone, with the Bluetooth. It doesn't log on internal memory. That's a little bit a pity, because this old thing can actually do that. I can log with this one, take it to the computer, make an Excel graph out of it. Maybe an improvement for the next model, guys. What do you think? But yeah, otherwise it's great. And I mean, you just can leave it connected with your phone and then you get your graph anyway. Something that I like a lot, I think that's my favorite feature, is the mapping function. I hope this here doesn't work so well with the camera. Just zoom in a little bit. So this is like the city center of Lucerne where I live. This was like an afternoon walking around, finding some radioactive places. Well, I didn't find anything out of the ordinary. Here's the scale also. Like it's maximum 3 times background, the stuff that I found. What I found is mostly granite, like old buildings with big blocks of granite, or actually down here I found a fountain that's made of granite, which is also radioactive. Just very mildly, like 3 times background is not that much. But I love the mapping function. This is really amazing. You could also, if you're into geology, you could use this to scout an area where you get, where you have like natural uranium in the ground or something like that, or just to even like just crisscross a field and scout a field if there's anything radioactive there. For me, this is a bit like nerd Pokemon or something. I prefer to play this than like Pokemon or games like that. It's awesome. I really like this feature. Let's just check out the settings for a moment. You can do a whole lot of stuff here. For example, you can turn on and off the sound from your phone also. You don't have to do it with the turny input thingy. Let's turn it on again. You can lower the click rate. It's not the count rate, but because it's quite sensitive, it has more clicks than your average Geiger counter, which can be annoying sometimes. So now, come on, yes. Now it only clicks every 10 times. It's just a little bit less annoying, I guess, in certain situations. Put it back to normal. You have a whole lot of alarms. The alarm system is very cool. You can use dose rate or like now measurement, like imminent, or I don't know exactly for what the E is. The D is of course for dose rate. So let's see what happens if we put something radioactive close to it and how the alarms work. Some uranium glass here. Stick this thing inside. We have to get over 0.2 microsieverts, obviously, to cause the alarm to go off. Should reach that actually, I think. Yeah, here we go. Go back to the display. Here you also see your thresholds. These marks are like the... it's different, other way around. Like here you get the input section, just that you know, here the power plug is. The detection crystal is here, not on this side, so this is a bit more sensitive. Yeah. Had it the wrong way around in the beginning. Okay, let's take this off. Yeah, really amazing features, I really like it. Of course you can turn off the alarms too if it's annoying, or like if you're in a bus or something, maybe you don't want this thing to go off all the time. This is for the phone notifications. You have a whole lot of app settings here too. What can you do with the units? We have Röntgen or Sievert. Confidence interval, remember the device. You can do sound settings, low battery temperature. A whole lot of settings you can do. So let's test this thing out with some radioactive sources. I want to do some stronger sources and some weaker sources. Also talk about which kind of radiation this thing can measure, because it's mostly for gamma, I would say. I don't think it's impossible to measure alpha with this. Maybe you could do a strong beta source, but that's not the betas you measure, it will be like Bremsstrahlung effects. But yeah, it's mostly for gamma. This thing here is like, I just like to use this to compare. This has the, wait a second, it's the SBT11A Soviet Geiger Tube, which can do alpha, beta, gamma and X-rays. So this is more like for a wider use, but this is much more sensitive and fast. It's really, really fast compared to one of these. Let's do some experiments, and then also we'll go outside and I'll show you the mapping function a little bit. Okay, little change of plans. I'll show you the mapping first and then we'll go to the experiments. So a little test I want to do, and also like mapping basics. I got my uranium ore chunk here that you may know from my Finding Uranium in Nature video. It stays in the plastic bag for now because I don't want uranium dust all over my backpack. The thing is, I'll stick it into my backpack back there, and then I'll try to pass it with the detector a few times. You can see it's rather active. So yeah, detector goes into my sock. I find that quite practical because when it's closer to the ground, you get more like true readings, or like more precise, I would say. Okay, I started walking a little bit to give it some data points. I actually passed the backpack before, but you have to get quite close. So this is my shoe with the detector. The alarm is kicking off. It's going over 20 now, but I have to be really close. So if I'm a bit more far away, yeah, it kind of drops down. But it shows on the map. There we get the heat point. So now we're in the city, close to the fountain I wanted to show you. I've got the app on for like 100 meters or so just to get some data points. The scale is still low, 0.11. Let's see what happens if we go to the fountain. So again, the detector is still the same place. Let's check the start screen. Ooh, yeah. Going up quite high. Back to the map. Make a circle around the thing. Then I'll show you a screenshot of the map. As you see, works quite well. So we're back at the base. Before we go into the experiments, just some last words about the mapping. Here is the screenshot of the map of the fountain, the circle that I made around it. The circle is a bit off because a phone's GPS are not always fully precise, as you may know. Here's a screenshot of the graph from when I approached the fountain, when I was beside the fountain. So it's very obvious that you see the peak there, that there's something around. Some last words about mapping or radiation sources that you could walk into in everyday life, which is very interesting. I had one occasion that was a maybe, but I'm not sure. There was some anomaly I couldn't explain. But I have a good Instagram friend, Andre. Thank you, Andre, for all your information. We had a good exchange. He basically got me the idea to buy this, and he encountered certain situations where you can actually encounter radioactive persons, like people, and that's probably one of the higher sources that you would run into in everyday life. I'll show you a quick video sequence that I could use from André. Thank you for that. Here you go. And this is a patient that probably just came out of the hospital and probably had a technetium treatment. It's an artificial element that's made in nuclear labs. It has a very, very short half-life. So I think after a day or two it's almost gone. It's not like that radioactive anymore, but it's very, very radioactive for like 1 day, and it's all gamma mainly. So that's something that can happen. It's really astonishing. A second picture also from André is a graph that he told me he encountered a radioactive person in a bus. And well, he has his stuff set to Röntgen or REM, I think. I have mine to Sievert, but you still see the peak from the background. So that's a lot of radiation for a person. I mean, yeah, it's interesting. Just that can also put you off. If you're measuring something, it can be confusing if you don't know what it is. But it could be just a person that had this kind of medical treatment. So let's go into the experiments now. We've seen the uranium ore before. I just want to show you quick some strong source and how this would look. Take the detector over here, the crystal is on this side. Yeah, my phone alarms are kicking off. And look how fast it gets its value. It goes up, it took a few seconds and we were like between 3 and 4. And also the count rate, look at the counts per minute there, like 45,000. If I compare this with my old Geiger counter, I turned the sound off on the old one, but you see the lights blinking. You see how the count rate is going up and it just takes way longer. It's just much slower till you get like a useful data point actually. That's what I mean with speed when I'm talking about how fast this thing here is. Also, small thing quick. Well, I should show you this with background, but still like, okay. We have the devices beside each other, move the uranium away a little bit. Well, now we have a count rate of 500 up here, which will drop down now again. Yeah, here it's 800, that's not what I wanted to show you. Okay, I'll try again. I just restarted this one that we get a new count rate. Also here I'll reset the dose. Yes, reset the dose. And give it a few seconds to register something. So now on the old Geiger counter we're at a count rate of counts per minute of 11. This will go up to 20 or 30 max for a background reading in my area. But here we have a count rate of already 700, now it's 900 counts per minute. So that's like how much, yeah, it's more than 10 times, like 30 or 40 times faster than the old one. That's what I mean when I say this is really fast. So, let's look at something else. Maybe a stronger source. I have the uranium glazed plate that I found in a flea market at some point. And here, this I think is kind of interesting. I think the plate gives off quite a lot of alphas, in addition to the gammas, of course. The Atomfast here, it's actually it's not picking up that much when I put it here. It's 10, 11, it's not even double. But this thing here is kicking off quite well. I think maybe I'll turn on the sound quick. It's a bit more interesting. Speaker on. So just to compare, I'll take the Atomfast off. A bit away. Now you hear the click rate of the GQ Geiger counter. It's already at 600. Take it off. Clicks go down very fast. But here with the Atomfast, there's something happening, but not that much. So we have much more alphas from this plate than we have gammas, which I think is interesting. I didn't know that actually. Maybe there's a factor too, which I'm not sure about, that I think in some of these uranium glazes, they actually use depleted uranium, which contains more uranium-236, I believe. Maybe that's an influence. I'm not sure. Maybe you guys know something about that. Would be interesting to know. So, like next item. Let's go with some radium. Radium painted compass. This picks up fast. Very fast. And yeah, it's rather radioactive. You can compare or look at the graph later too. At the moment, well, this does kind of the same thing. One last thing I want to do, show you a weak source again. This, maybe you know this from an older video of mine. This is like some potassium chloride-ish bath salt. It's not pure potassium chloride, but there's quite a lot in sodium, potassium carbonate, I mean, whatever. Potassium, if you know, contains like trace amounts of potassium-40, which is a radioactive isotope. However, it's a beta emitter, it's not a gamma emitter. But there's a small phenomena that happens with potassium-40, I mean. Well, I think it's less than 1% of all the decays happen in a beta plus decay or double beta decay, can't remember. The thing is, it produces like a positron, an anti-electron, so it's basically antimatter, tiny bit. And when the positron crashes into another electron, they destroy each other, of course, and that kicks out a little tiny bit of gamma radiation. And I think we can actually pick up on that with the Atomfast. It's something I don't think the old Geiger counter can do, or at least not that precise. It's we have to do this in the sensitive measuring screen. This is what this here is for. And I'll let it measure, maybe also put all the other radioactive stuff a little bit away that we don't get false readings. I think we're okay here. So I'll leave this measuring for a minute or two, and then I'll show you again, and then we'll do the same thing with background and we compare. I did this a few times already and it really works. You see a few percentages higher with the potassium stuff than when I take it off. And I'm quite astonished that it can pick up on that. It's very little, but it does pick up. Okay, we're in the more precise measuring mode for about 3 minutes now. We're getting around 0.061, I would say, with the potassium. So I'll leave everything as it is. I'll just take this off. Stop measuring. I want to do a new one actually. Maybe we have to also reset the dose on the first screen. Let's go back and start measuring only background. Give it 3 minutes again and I'll show you the results. Okay, we got 3 minutes measurement of only background and it's obviously less. It's not much, but you see it's 0.053 now. I'm very astonished that it can pick up that very weak bath salt radiation. Yeah, I think that's it for the experiments. It was a bit quick and dirty, sorry for that, but I just wanted to save on time a little bit. Yeah, I think let's go to the end of the video. Well, some last words before we end this. It's a really neat thing. If you're into this kind of stuff, like really maybe look into it. In general, also, I'm not a review channel and I'm not planning to get one. I'm not usually doing reviews, but once in a while, if I find something that I find very cool myself personally, I will talk about it, obviously. And it's a sympathetic company. There seem to be nice folks there, so if you're looking for a detector, might as well look into the Atomfast or any other models that they have. I think all of their stuff is kind of cool. One thing that's maybe a little problem for some of you right now, everything is in Russian for the time of now on their website, also like the manuals, and it's a bit, they just don't have translations yet. They told me they're working on some, so maybe that will come in the future. But what I did, it's really simple. Just go on the website, copy paste the instructions into Google Translate. I printed it out for me. Very easy. Like it's, yeah. Also, it's interesting to learn a tiny bit about the new language this way. Like, why not? So, I would say thanks for watching. If you're planning to buy one, have fun with your Atomfast. And keep on counting. See you in the next video. Bye.